There are certain truths in life that must never be given away too easily, because the moment you expose everything, you lose your mystery, your strength, and the leverage that keeps respect alive. As a man, not everything about you should be laid bare. In fact, true power often lies in the things you keep hidden. Women may be curious, they may try to draw it out of you, but if you want to remain respected, valued, and admired, there are 5 things you must always keep to yourself. The first thing a man must always hide is his weaknesses, because weakness is the one thing that quickly changes how people perceive you. As a man, the world expects you to stand tall, to show resilience, and to embody strength even when life throws its heaviest punches. The reality is that every man has insecurities, fears, and moments of doubt. But exposing them to a woman without boundaries can strip you of the respect and admiration she has for you. Women crave security. They want to feel protected. They want to feel like the man beside them can carry not just his burdens, but also provide stability for hers. When you make your weaknesses the center of your conversations, when you constantly highlight how broken you are or how defeated life has made you, you slowly destroy the image of the man she believed in. This does not mean you should be emotionless. It does not mean you should never express vulnerability, but true power lies in knowing when and how much to share. Vulnerability in controlled doses creates connection, but overexposure creates doubt. A woman wants to know that even when you are facing storms, you still have the ability to hold the wheel steady, because her sense of safety is tied to your composure. Weakness shared too openly makes her question whether you can handle the demands of life, and worse, whether you can handle her. You must understand that people respect strength more than they sympathize with struggle. If she sees that every situation breaks you, she will subconsciously lose faith in you. If she feels that your fears control you, she will stop looking at you as a man she can lean on. Even when life is heavy, even when inside you feel like falling apart, you must carry yourself with dignity and discipline. Your power is not in denying your weakness, but in mastering it. You cannot allow your emotions and flaws to be on open display for anyone who asks, because mystery and restraint are part of a man's armor. When you show too much weakness, you give away too much power, and once that power is lost, respect rarely returns in the same way. Women admire men who rise above pain, men who bend but do not break, men who know how to fight battles in silence and emerge stronger without making weakness their identity. That is why the wise man protects his vulnerabilities like precious treasures, because what is hidden cannot be used against him, and what is controlled can never destroy him. The second thing a man must always hide is his full financial status, because money is one of the quickest ways people judge, measure, and sometimes misuse a man's life. Whether you are struggling or you are wealthy, revealing too much about your finances can create problems that you may not be prepared to handle. If you openly display that you have plenty of money, it can attract people who are not interested in you for who you are, but only for the benefits they can extract. It creates expectations that may be impossible to sustain, and it removes the element of mystery that keeps people guessing about the true extent of your capacity. A woman may not always ask for numbers, but when you constantly talk about your bank account, your investments, or your salary, you make it easy for her to measure you not by your character, but by your wallet. And if you reveal that you are struggling financially, you also risk planting doubt in her mind about your ability to provide stability, even if she genuinely cares for you. Women feel safe around men who project control, responsibility, and the ability to manage what they have, no matter how much or how little it is. A wise man does not need to shout about his financial victories, nor does he need to complain about his struggles. Instead, he moves with quiet confidence, showing through action that he is resourceful, disciplined, and capable of handling life's responsibilities. True value is not in telling people how much money you hold, but in demonstrating how wisely you use what you have. Your finances should always remain private, because the moment you put numbers on the table, you give away leverage. You risk being admired or rejected for what you own instead of who you are. Money is powerful, but its power doubles when it remains silent. Let your lifestyle reflect your discipline. Let your consistency show your stability, but never open the vault for everyone to see. A man's financial life must always remain his secret ground, guarded carefully, because the truth is that money can bring respect, but it can also invite manipulation. Women admire men who live with balance, who provide without boasting, and who are generous without advertising their generosity. When you reveal too much about your financial details, you also put pressure on yourself to keep meeting expectations, and this pressure can strain not only your relationship, but also your peace of mind. That is why the man who hides his true financial capacity remains in control of his narrative. He gives without announcing, he provides without proving, and he never lets his finances define his identity. The third thing a man must always hide is his long-term strategy, because a man's vision is sacred and must be protected from unnecessary eyes. judgment, and interference. Every man carries dreams, goals, and silent plans that fuel his purpose. But the mistake many make is revealing these plans too early and too openly. When you expose your vision before it takes shape, you invite criticism, discouragement, and sometimes even sabotage from people who may not believe in you or secretly hope you fail. A woman may genuinely care for you, but if you reveal every step of your plan, she might unintentionally plant doubt in your mind or measure your progress against your words instead of waiting for the results. What makes a man magnetic is not only what he achieves, but also the mystery behind how he achieves it. When people cannot fully read you, they respect you more, they observe you with curiosity, and they take your presence seriously because you are not predictable. Strategy is like a seed. It grows best in silence and protection, away from those who may trample it before it has the chance to break the soil. A man must understand that even love does not require full exposure of every detail. Because trust is not about revealing everything, it is about moving with integrity. Women admire men who walk with quiet confidence, who chase their dreams without broadcasting their every step, and who allow results to do the speaking. If you explain too much, you give away the advantage of surprise, you reduce the anticipation that makes your journey compelling, and you weaken the aura of discipline that surrounds a man who builds in silence. Sharing every detail of your strategy can also put pressure on you to meet expectations you may not be ready for, turning your personal goals into a performance show instead of a sacred pursuit. That pressure can crush your spirit and distort your focus. A wise man reveals only what is necessary, never the entire map, because power lies in holding the unseen. Women respect men whose plans feel larger than words, men who leave them curious, men who keep a part of their journey hidden until the right moment. This mystery is not secrecy out of fear, it is secrecy out of strength. Because a man's destiny does not need an audience before it becomes reality. The world values results, not explanations, and a man who guards his long-term strategy ensures that when his vision comes to life, it cannot be traced, copied, or undermined. The fourth thing a man must always hide is his emotional triggers, because once people know what controls you emotionally, they gain power over you that can be used at any moment. Every man has soft spots, certain words, situations, or behaviors that touch deep nerves, but wisdom is in never exposing them openly. If a woman knows exactly what makes you angry, what makes you insecure, or what brings you to tears, she may consciously or unconsciously use it against you in moments of conflict. Human nature often pushes people to test limits, and when your emotional triggers are laid bare, you become predictable and easy to manipulate. A man's strength is measured not by how loud he reacts, but by how composed he remains under pressure. The man who stays calm when provoked commands more respect than the one who explodes at every challenge. Women admire emotional stability because it represents control, discipline, and leadership. If every little thing shakes you, if every harsh word pushes you into anger, or every disappointment breaks your spirit, you show that you are not yet in charge of yourself. Control is the highest form of power, and that control begins with your emotions. A man must learn to master his reactions so well that no one outside can easily read or exploit his weaknesses. This does not mean you should suppress your feelings or become cold and disconnected. It means you must build the strength to respond instead of react. Silence can be more powerful than anger. Patience can be more powerful than shouting, and restraint can be more powerful than revenge. A woman feels safe with a man who is unshaken, who can face conflict without losing himself, and who does not allow his emotions to rule him. When you hide your triggers, you maintain mystery, because no one can predict what will break you or bend you. That unpredictability makes you stronger in her eyes because you are not easily controlled by emotions. Even in arguments, if she tries to provoke you and you remain calm, she sees that you are not a man who can be manipulated. And when you choose to express emotion, it carries more weight because it is rare and meaningful, not just an uncontrolled outburst. The truth is, a man who reveals all his emotional buttons becomes like a puppet in someone else's hands, but a man who hides them remains the master of his own spirit. Emotional intelligence is the art of knowing when to show and when to hide, when to speak and when to be silent, and when to let your energy flow in ways that build instead of destroy. That control is what separates an ordinary man from a powerful man. The fifth thing a man must always hide is his past mistakes and secrets, because not every detail of where you have been needs to be placed in the hands of someone else. Every man has a history, filled with decisions he is not proud of, moments of weakness, or experiences that shaped him in painful ways. But wisdom lies in understanding that the past is not always meant to be shared in full. When you openly expose every scar, every wrong choice, or every failure, you give people tools to measure you not by who you are now, but by who you once were. A woman may listen and appear understanding, But deep within, those words can create silent doubts that never completely fade. The truth is, respect is fragile, and once a person has information that paints you as less capable, less disciplined, or less honorable, they may subconsciously see you through that lens forever. That is why a man must keep his past as a private archive, only sharing the lessons learned without revealing all the intimate details. Share wisdom, not weakness. Share growth, not guilt. Women admire men who rise from challenges, but they admire even more the men who carry their scars with quiet dignity rather than using them as stories of sympathy. A man who constantly talks about his past mistakes places himself in a position of judgment, and once that judgment is formed, it is hard to erase. Your past belongs to you, and your strength lies in how you use it to build your present, not in how much you expose it. What matters is the man you are becoming, not the mistakes you once made. When you hide your past, you protect your image, your authority, and your dignity. Everyone deserves to have chapters of their life that remain untold because mystery creates respect. A woman should never feel that she knows every detail of your history because complete exposure removes the aura of strength that keeps her admiration alive. Even if she truly loves you, hearing every dark detail may plant seeds of doubt, and those seeds can grow into distance with time. A wise man never lies about his past, but he also never hands over the keys to his private history. He allows his growth to be visible, but keeps his scars hidden where they cannot be used against him. Women respect men who carry their past like a hidden strength, who let their progress speak louder than their confessions, and who understand that not all truths must be revealed to earn love. Your past is your story, but your future is your power, and only the man who guards his secrets holds control of his destiny. At the end of the day, the true strength of a man is not measured by how much he exposes, but by how much he controls. There is a unique power in restraint, a magnetic force in silence, and an unshakable respect that comes from mystery. A man who hides his weaknesses keeps his dignity intact, because no one can misuse what they do not know. A man who keeps his financial reality private remains in control of how others perceive his worth, because money should never define identity. A man who guards his long-term strategy moves like a king in silence, shocking the world with